It's a migrant crisis. Now, in any other situation, I would put Biden as at the forefront of the congregation to take accountability for the migrant crisis. But sometimes I be forgetting. You know what I'm saying? I'm a C student. I don't always, you know what I'm saying, remember every single thing. Thank y'all for the super chats. I'm going to be reading those shortly. I don't always remember every single thing, but sometimes I forget, right? And I like to pin this all on Biden. And when I see Brandon Johnson and Eric Adams and Mike Johnson and all of these legislators run over to Washington, D.C. and they be begging Biden, I be forgetting that Kamala Harris is sitting there in the corner like this. It's Cam. This is Cam right here. I said, what you doing, Cam? Every once in a while, we have to remind ourselves that Kamala Harris was the person that was tasked as the border czar. The border czar, meaning that she was the one that was supposed to be on the forefront. Her legacy as a vice president of the Biden administration was supposed to be tied to the migrant border. Now, I don't know if they just leaving it open in order to throw her under the bus. I have no clue. But the one thing that I have to bring to the front of the congregation is Kamala Harris was the person whose only task, she had one job, one opportunity to seize everything you wanted. Lose yourself in the music the moment you want it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Now is your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself. And she had one job. One job. We didn't ask her to fix healthcare. We didn't ask her to fix our EV crisis and the infrastructure deals. We didn't ask her to do that. Listen, we can pin a lot of things on Biden, and we do. But the one thing that we can't say that Biden hasn't done was pass a bunch of bills, whether we believed it or not. He passed the infrastructure deal, the tax act. He was passing all of these black laws, the diversity, equity, inclusion. They had a party on the White House lawn for the LGBTQI, ABCDEFG groups and all of this stuff, right? Now, we don't have to agree with what he do, but we know he be doing a whole lot of stuff that we don't necessarily agree with, right? But she had one job. One job. That's it. And you know what that one job was? Let me bring you to the front of the congregation to help you remember exactly what Cam was supposed to be taken care of.
Along the U.S. southern border, where sources say more than 11,000 migrants crossed into the U.S. just within the past 24 hours.
It is stunning. Mills Hayes has the story in Eagle Pass, Texas. And Mills, what have you seen today?
Well, here in the Eagle Pass sector, we've seen more than 15,000 migrant encounters in the last week. And today we've seen hundreds of migrants here. You could actually see some of the migrants waiting behind me, behind those white generators right there. They're waiting to get picked up by CBP, and then CBP will take them over to processing centers. Now, in the last week,
Brittany B in the building, Brittany Burnham, says she been so MIA, I forgot we even had a vice president.
CBP has also arrested at least 12 migrants, criminal migrants, some of them even child sex offenders. And people who live here on the border tell me they are sick of it. In Eagle Pass, Texas, you can see men pull this woman over razor wire and a shipping container to safety. This may look like an obstacle course, but it's migrants illegally crossing the Rio Grande River into the U.S.
Now remember, at this particular choke point, at this particular part of the border, because they don't fear us anymore. They don't think that they're going to get arrested. They're not worried about getting nothing happening to them. They ain't worried about none of that. They just chilling. They don't worry. They don't care if it's cameras. They don't care if Border Patrol is there. They don't care about anything. At this particular choke point, they said over 11,000 migrants have crossed over into the U.S. border in one day. Shout out to King James. I just got your email. In one day. 11,000 overnight.
This is an everyday thing.
On Tuesday, an already overwhelmed Border Patrol was hit with a massive group and more are on the way. New exclusive Fox video shows thousands of migrants waiting to catch trains in Mexico bound for the U.S.
Look at this nonsense. Look at what is happening at the border. Listen, before y'all take y'all next trip to Miami, or y'all go over into Cancun or Tulum, or you go over to Dubai or all of this stuff, take a quick trip past the border and see how many of them is waiting on trains in order to get over to the U.S. Look, they waving. Hey, we coming to a city near you. Hey.
Brevard County Constable Beto De La Torre says they've seen this before.
I mean, it got crazy. They were just hopping on the train, and then you could see them running off the train and everything. So, I mean, it got really bad. We've gotten children with no parents at all, just with information on their shirt, and it's pretty sad.
It's been more than 2 years since Vice President Kamala Harris told migrants,
"Do not come."
But in 2023, we saw more than 2.4 million illegal crossings, the highest number ever recorded.
We just kind of have to fend for ourselves here in Eagle Pass. We do our best with what we have. It's unacceptable. We feel 100% ignored by the federal government, by the administration. They don't bother to give us a call. Nobody bothers to tell us what the plan of action is.
The Biden administration appears to be open to tightening border policies in exchange for aid for Ukraine.
They're holding your borders hostage in order to get Congress members and the Republican Party to be able to get more money for Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. They're holding your borders hostage in order to make sure that they negotiate for more monies to support foreign interests.
Washington Post reported that the White House floated an idea where migrants would be expelled back across the border without any kind of asylum screening on days that they had a high daily encounter rate. Now, that likely won't happen until after lawmakers get back from the holiday break.
Let me bring y'all back. Let me remind y'all, because sometimes we forget, and it kind of reminds me of people that went to high school and they'd be like, oh man, we had so much fun. No, you didn't. You was getting put in a locker. You was getting beat up in high school. Please don't have that revisionist history. Let me bring y'all up to speed on what used to happen. This was more than 2 years ago when they first got elected. All right.
But the vice presidents agreed, among the multiple other things that happened at the meeting, and I appreciate it, agreed to lead our diplomatic effort.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Wednesday put Vice President Kamala Harris in charge of efforts to stem the flow of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border that has led to a surge in unaccompanied children and an overcrowding of processing facilities. Harris said she'll work to address the root of the problem with leaders from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. Many migrants say they make the journey to escape poverty, crime, and battered economies from natural disasters in Central America.
While we are clear that people should not come to the border now, we also understand that we will enforce the law, and that also, because we can chew gum and walk at the same time, must address the root causes that cause people to make the trek.
Their remarks came moments before some U.S. journalists were allowed access Wednesday to a migrant facility in Carrizo Springs, Texas, as reporters pressed the White House for more transparency. Journalists have been repeatedly asking the White House to visit the migrant facilities for a first-hand look at living conditions, and they have not had access until Wednesday's tour. Video showed masked children playing soccer and basketball outside. What appeared to be a classroom had desks with notebooks and pencils. Housing facilities appeared to be temporary trailers. Senate Republicans blame a surge of migrants at the border on Biden's decision to reverse former President Donald Trump's policies to deport illegal immigrants. Texas Senator Ted Cruz took his argument a step further, accusing the Biden administration of a media blackout.
Joe Biden is issuing this media blackout because he's terrified of the American people seeing the disaster that is unfolding. You have a right to have cameras there. You have a right to take pictures and to show the American people what's happening.
At the border facility in Texas on Wednesday, a Biden administration official said the decision to limit access.
We turn now to the southern border, where today Vice President Kamala Harris said the Biden administration is making, quote, extreme progress, unquote, in addressing the surge in migrants there. It was a trip long demanded by her critics, and here is CBS's Nancy Cordes.
It's hardly unusual for politicians to tour the border, but this trip was closely watched because of the timing. 93 days after the vice president was tapped to lead the White House response to rising migration.
I said back in March I was going to come to the border, so this is not a new plan.
And yet, White House sources say today's trip came together so quickly it caused some confusion within the West Wing.
Here's my question for you guys. Here's my question. Do you think that this is planned, or do you honestly believe that they're selling us on the idea or the narrative that they truly cannot figure out how it is that they could stop the flow or the stem, or they don't have the funds and the resources to dedicate to the border? Because if it is planned, if this is okay, if they're okay with over 11,000 people over a 24-hour span at one choke point coming into the United States of America, and then them giving them buses, and then they knowing what's going on. We have the most advanced military in the entire world. We literally allocate billions and trillions of dollars annually towards these things. We have social services programs. We have so much and resources that we're budgeting for that we go into debt to do it. But you telling me we don't have the ability to be able to stem however many people is coming into the border on a regular basis, and they don't care? So either people like Cam are incredibly incompetent, and they're just a puppet, or we truly are not, or they're really a reflection of the fact that we are incompetent. Because, yeah, we can hold her accountable, but then at the same time, you do realize that we the one that just keep voting in people based off of identity politics too, right? Look. You guys voted for her based off of the idea that, and the only reason, in my opinion, that she was a part of the Biden administration and as far as the vice presidency is because she identified with a group of people, we all know who it is, mostly women and black women, and they wanted to crack that little ceiling just a little bit more, as Hillary Clinton emphasized in some of her most recent speeches on her way of getting knocked out and eliminated as far as her presidential campaigns. You wanted to break open that glass just a little bit more, and so as a result, they added her to the campaign, not necessarily because she would make a great president or a great vice president, but are we the culprits? Are we the ones that truly need to be held accountable for the fact that y'all keep getting finessed into voting the same people in the office that obviously don't care anything about you or the American people? See, it's not just that they don't care about you. They don't care about any of us. Me included. They don't care nothing about me. They don't care nothing about me. They don't care nothing about the UAW members that they stood over there and they made a symbolic gesture of marching on the picket lines with them for like 5 minutes in order to get their bullhorn and bring more visibility to what y'all got. They don't care nothing about you. And so you keep voting these people in based off of identity politics, but are we responsible for them, or are they to be held accountable by themselves? Because they are voted in based off of what you say.
It did not come soon enough for the GOP.
She avoided traveling to the border for more than 90 days. In that short amount of time of more than 3 months, there's been more than 500,000 encounters.
And this was 2 years ago. This was over 2 years ago, but I don't want to beat a dead horse because I got a full show that I need to perform.